Coming up right now, see why one town is saying, listen, the joke's over as they try to solve the mystery of the missing street sign.
Also coming up, it's one dancer's mission to change the ballet shoe emoji, but many say she's playing the race card.
A little bit later, it's the one-eyed teacher that has her pupils loving her pupils. We'll explain.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, I see what you just did there.
Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. We got a great show set up for you today. We're going to jump into the kitchen a little bit later on. We're going to be talking about all the trending news and information. And we also got Matt Doolittle hanging out with us. Matt, you got any hot takes for us today, buddy?
I enjoy clickbait.
Clickbait. Interesting to see. I had no idea. Okay, so put that down on this Christmas calendar of gifts that we're going to give to them.
Okay.
Hey, listen, we here at the show, we always we give millennials a hard time.
We do.
Because we're always complaining but you know what? Millennials have actually done a lot of good stuff for us.
Okay.
And I think it's time for us here on the show to come out and say thank you to our millennials. And all these things that you are welcome, Trout. First off, that we're starting to see a resurgence of things coming back to us thanks to millennials. First off is vinyl records.
Yes.
We saw them move away more and more. My daughter included has a whole collection. Matter of fact, she just bought another record player and she collects all those vinyl records. She loves it. And the first one was one that I gave her was Aerosmith's Back in the Saddle. And so it's cool. All right, so that's another one. Another thing that we could thank millennials for saving is things like crafts, like knitting, as well as crocheting. More and more millennials are doing this just because I guess maybe they have more free time or they just want something in their hand. I don't know.
I think it's the free time part.
It could be.
They enjoy their free time.
We're saying thanks for them.
Yes, yes.
Next thing is the dad core culture, which is dads taking more of a responsibility. Millennials are starting to do that. I think generationally, that
I
kind of
don't think we give dads enough credit. I've said that before on the show.
And this one, I think, goes from because millennials are moving away from technology in some aspects, and Dungeons and Dragons is now seeing a resurgence.
Are you
More and more
serious?
people, millennials are playing it along with other board games, and I find that the case too, where they're like getting rid of the phones and it's like let's have a board game, let's have fun. So millennials, we thank you for bringing all those things back.
I love that. I love a good board game.
Board games are fun.
They are fun.
And they just kind of went away for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think Monopoly did it because I was like, I don't have 8.5 hours to play as a game.
I had a friend try to get me to play Monopoly on my phone with her, and I was like, I'm not doing this.
On your phone?
Yeah,
No.
through an app. I was like,
How
I'm not
can you
doing
be
this.
the thimble if you're on the phone?
No.
You can't.
It's all about in-person strategy with Monopoly.
Yes.
You can't play that on your phone.
We go to Canada now, where an Ontario township is in the process of figuring out how to change the name of its most famous street, because basically this road sign is just a target for thieves. It's a true story. We checked it out. We're not making it up. His name is John Henry Harry Dick, and he was born on this royal property way back in 1957. Street ended up bearing his name, Harry Dick Road, in the late 80s.
Oh, boy.
And that's when 911 services were added to the area. Imagine calling 911. His wife said nobody asked what to name the road. It was just named. So they didn't even say.
Couldn't they go with Henry? Why did
wouldn't
they
you?
go with
No, it's too good.
Well, streets, I think somebody lost a bet. The street signs started to disappear as soon as one would be replaced. Officials confirmed the sign is stolen about 4 times a year. They also actually tried to prevent the thieves by greasing the pole of the Harry Dick sign. And I just got to say that.
It's a long, winding road.
It's a long, winding road.
Honestly, if they just made it a bigger sign. A big sign.
Anyway, they also put concrete down in there, but still people are stealing these signs. I said the city, if you're going to, first off, you're the one that came up with the name. You should have some kind of marketing plan behind it.
If your bush is on fire on that road, you have to call 911.
It's all right. Man, we are so towing the line right now.
So far down the road with this
No,
one.
and I'm part of it. I know I'm part of the problem.
How about the guy that had to make the sign?
Yeah, right?
Are you kidding me? Like, He goes to work. I don't know who's
You get
making
that work
the
order, you're going, this
Picture
is
up again,
Can
Caleb?
you,
Kidding,
can
right?
you make sure that this is really what they want?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or even like they said they didn't even ask for it. They didn't put any
They
kind
didn't-
of like haha.
In honor of, or
and one is apparently there's the only one that lives on it.
the only
That's your
people
address.
that live there. One.
So basically, your address is 1 Harry Dick Road. I mean, hey, look, and here's the thing. You're watching at home, you're going, oh my God. We're not making it up.
No, this is real.
No, it's real. I verified it for us.
We had our department headed by Andrea to check
And
it
I
out.
have to read this story a little later on in the show, so that's always a good time. Lots of comedy there. Well, critics are coming after ballet dancer Misty Copeland, who claims the pink ballet shoe emoji is racist. Yes, you heard me correct. She's demanding that the ballet shoe emoji be more inclusive. The 41-year-old dancer posted about the initiative to her 2 million followers on Instagram, explaining that ballet started in the 15th century in Italy for the white elite, and its shoes are pink to match fair skin color. Critics say the trailblazing dancer is seeing racism where it doesn't exist, posting comments like, it's an emoji, good grief, and pink is not a skin color. Copeland made history as the first black woman to become a principal dancer at the American Ballet Theater. Another didn't dance around the issue, writing, "You are creating a racist pseudo problem with this," with some posting clearly a sign of first world privilege problems. Well, Copeland's married to an attorney who also happens to be the cousin of Taye Diggs, and the couple live in a $3 million condo on New York's Upper West Side.
So they're doing pretty well.
They're doing okay.
You know, and I mean, it's a shame that you're seeing this. It's like, hey, it would be nice if, but they don't go out and say, I demand to get rid of the pink. But every time I think of ballet shoes, I think they're pink, you know?
Yeah.
I don't see anything beyond that. I think of it as a girl. So as a man, should I be offended that, because do guys wear pink ballet shoes or whatever, right?
And ballet pink is a color. Like, people refer to it as, oh, that shirt is ballet pink.
Oh, I
so,
didn't know that.
So if that's the case, then are we going to refrain
We're gonna have
from
to change it, yeah.
calling anything ballet pink from now on?
Yeah. Well, yeah, now you got me going down this road. I don't know. I just think
Not
it's
the
like,
same road as the one before.
no.
Yeah.
And you know, here's the thing. That's you're choosing to serve your 2 million followers by starting something that really I don't think is there. You know, if you bring it up, hey, do you guys? And it sounds like, from what we at least read about it, is that maybe ask and say, do you guys find this to be right? And then have your 2 million people come back and say, and then jump aboard.
And
Maybe
I do think with the power of having 2 million followers comes great responsibility. So maybe pick and choose what you think might be worth taking on as far as demanding change for.
I agree with you on that. This is actually a really cool story. Teachers do not get as much credit as they should. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. But there was one teacher, she actually lost her left eye in an accident. And she says that her students now adore her $170,000 collection of glass peepers.
Whoa.
Her name is 27-year-old Sunshine Jones, and she was left with impaired vision after a piece of wood pierced her left eyeball when she was just 5 years old. She was contacted by the Fun Eye Fund. It's a charity that helps provide prosthetic eyes to those in need. A custom mold of her eye was used by using high-quality acrylic. She now has 17 different prosthetic eyes, all in a range of colors and styles, and her kids love it.
How about
Now,
that?
I got to tell you though, I mean, like I'm looking at that eye the whole time.
Of
It would
course
be
you
hard
are.
to look in her eye, but she's a teacher and she's like, you know, like we're all different, and this is what happened to me, and accept it. I think it's an awesome idea.
That's pretty cool, yeah, and that she's okay with it. She's just like, I'm going to share this with everybody.
And especially the fact she's a teacher, so she has an opportunity to get in front of young kids to realize, hey, look, I'm different, but I'm embracing it.
There you go. If somebody had 2 million followers, maybe that would be something worth
That's the 2
discussing.
million,
That's
yes.
the 2 million you want to reach. Well, Pamela Anderson says going without makeup is freedom. The former Baywatch babe made a video for French Vogue where she showed off several makeup-free looks. Anderson's been in Paris for Fashion Week, where she says she is without her glam team. She wanted a natural look in an effort to let her outfit shine. So she's letting her hair do its own thing while just using a little rose oil moisturizer and mascara. Anderson, who reigned as the ultimate sex symbol, says she's, quote, vintage now. Pamela admits that being in her 50s has led to the mom of two to rethink her own beauty standards.
I think it's great. I think it's, I mean, she's a beautiful woman, first off. It's a thing, though, the eyebrows are thinned out. So, you like in a lot of the pictures, I notice you can't see her eyebrows at all. So that makes it a little weird. I think of Tilda Swinton, who does this all the time.
Yes.
And I think it's an interesting look. And I'm like, I think it shows, I think this is a woman that put on a lot of makeup, and she admitted it. She's like, they made me up like really thick, and she did for so long. For her to go 180 like this, I think is wonderful to show her true beauty.
And she's got that documentary on Netflix. Have you seen it?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it came out about 6 months ago.
You know, she's all natural. She's not wearing makeup. She's just kind of her own person. Yeah. And you got to admire her for some of the choices she's made.
It has to be a little bit of, listen, I have to look good every single day. And then when you get to an age, you're like, I'm done with it.
I had a friend who was her stylist, and he would say, I get pan-me-downs all the time. Pan-me-downs.
I think that'd be awesome. We have more Flash and more fun coming up right here on Daily Flash. Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. There's a new film that's out trending today, and it reveals our society's struggles with just trying to live in a world filled with chaos. It's called A Time for Every Purpose. Check it out.
School was supposed to help me. They said I needed to get back into a new routine. That new routine is everyone looking at me. They hate me.
What about when I look at you, son? You feel love?
What?
Well, you said that everyone hates you, and you can feel it because they look at you. Well, I'm asking you. I'm looking at you. Do you feel loved right now?
Yes, I guess.
All right, then. You can feel love, too.
All right, and joining us now to talk about the film are Quentin Marcari, Lance Smith, and Ryan Funk. Thanks for joining us. And first, Quentin, I can say it's going to be hard to call you Quentin. It's always been Q to me.
Yes.
And we all have a little history all together, too, which is great to see you guys working together. Tell us exactly how all of this came about, first off.
So it originated from a short film that I wrote originally at Full Sail. And it's kind of based on that. And then Ryan, who is our cinematographer, was actually a teacher of mine at Full Sail. And then Lance, who I met and worked with at the Daily Buzz, as well as you. We all kind of came together, originally going to shoot a short, and then COVID happened. So then we were like, you know what, let's turn it into a feature. And so we got together, and then with our executive producer, Sonia, who I actually met at the Daily Buzz.
Okay.
So it's all tied together, and so which is great to be here today.
You know, I think it's interesting behind that because, number one, when you have a group of friends, you have people that you work together, you have commonalities, and you say, you know, and that's where a lot of the ideas will actually start, and you see because you have people that can kind of see the same vision. Lance, is that the case when you got this together? I mean, were you finding that?
Oh, Mitch, this whole ride has been wild just from the get-go because it was just that. It was having worked together, having commonality, having this work relationship. Q and I had remained friends even when I was on camera to off camera. He saw what I was doing, working with actors and creating little shorts and scenes. And when he asked me to direct, I said, well, sure, but I've never done anything like this. And that's when he introduced me to this guy who taught me a ton about filmmaking. So I just had a front row seat to great filmmakers. And then he trusted me, I trusted him. And the whole thing was just, it was beautiful the way we worked in unison. It was
All right, I want to talk about what the film is. Since you created it, Q, tell me about this.
So it's honestly, you follow 3 characters through the film, and they're all going through their own struggles, and I feel like everybody can relate to that. Everybody kind of goes through their own struggles, and you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And you know, that's in essence kind of what the film is about. You know, you see Ruth and Doug here, they're kind of going back and forth. Doug's been her tormentor her whole life, and so she's dealing with that. Here. And so, yeah, it's just, I hope that everybody can just find relation to it.
You know, we all go through this. We all have that stress. We have PTSD. We have depression. I mean, especially at a time like COVID, going through COVID.
Yep.
Ryan, I want to know, I mean, the cinematographer is a person that's got to capture all of that. What do you think that you wanted to kind of pull out? First, what did the movie reveal about society? And then what did you want to pull out of the movie when you shot it?
Well, I think we had a huge opportunity to be able to innovate a little bit with this film. So we sat for about, I want to say 3 months when it came to breaking it down and really trying to hone in the style and the approach that we wanted. So we attached ourselves to the grittiness of these trials and tribulations that our characters went with, and we decided to go ultra handheld for about, 90% of the film.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's an effect
beautiful.
that the handheld people should know, that it kind of brings you into reality, I would assume, right? I mean,
yeah, it keeps you
absolutely.
on the edge of your seat.
Okay.
It keeps you it keeps the audience a little bit edgier, if you will.
And then directing that, I mean, is that something hard to kind of pull out, Lance?
Well, for me, that's the one area that I feel like that's my expertise. I can work with actors, I can bring together great performances, but to get that on camera, we had to come, that's what he's talking about, we had to really get together and how are we going to get this on film or and recorded as it is. Right. And Ryan was he was so great at how he could frame things and the way we used color, and it was the most collaborative thing I've ever been a part of.
And then, and any of you on this question, what do you want people to, once they watch it, bring out of it? I mean, do you want them first to feel uncomfortable and then realize that there's a resolve? Is that something, or am I laying that out?
No. I mean, I think like when Lance and I were sitting together editing the film and even talking to Ryan in post, like we wanted to kind of pull the audience underwater with us and hold them down there, and then at the end, let them back up again. And so I mean, and I really wanted people that watch it to enjoy our cast's performances. They all did an amazing job telling their stories through their characters even, so it was great.
And it's something that everybody, they either have gone through it or they know somebody has gone through. We're talking about stuff like PTSD, depression, and single moms and that sort of thing. But we're also, you have somewhat of a label, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, but kind of a faith-based film, would you call it that, or is that a misnomer?
The thing about this film is we set out to do this intentionally. It is maybe too faith-based for a secular audience, or it's maybe too secular for a faith-based audience. We're right in the middle there because how do we make a Christian film that isn't a Christian film? How do we make, and it's just, this is just about the story.
And I would imagine you don't want to tote the line of being preachy, because you want to come out of it learning something. I think when I go to a church or whatever and I hear a pastor talk, it's the ones that are not preaching. They're telling me a story of success, a prodigal son kind of story. That sort of thing. Where can folks catch it? Because that's the most important.
So we actually released today the Amazon, Apple TV, YouTube, and then all of your popular streaming sites. It's available today. For
wide release on this.
Wide release.
You can get on AT&T Uverse. We throw this up here because this is really an important film to kind of watch because of the fact that it deals with things that it's something that you know somebody, or maybe you've gone through it as well, and it does teach us a little bit. But there is a little good hope and faith in the world, right?
Yes.
It is gritty, but I feel like it packs a punch. Yeah.
Agreed. I want to I tell you guys, I appreciate y'all coming in here, and I'm actually proud to know you guys that you did this, and because you did it during a time that was really difficult with the COVID, but it turned in from a short to a full thing because of COVID. So it is something good, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I love that. You want to find out more information on this incredible movie and where you could watch it? Check out A Time for Every Purpose Film.com. We're gonna have this link on our website, so don't worry about it. Gather the whole family around. This is something the whole family can watch, right?
There are a few swear words in it.
There's some language, but
have you watched this show?
That is true. That is true.
We try not to do it too much. Guys, good seeing you, and congratulations on everything. We'd love to see how far this is going to go. We'll have more Flash coming up after this.
Now entering its second season, Daily Flash Latino. Designed for the American Latino audience, Daily Flash Latino hosts Jessica Reyes and Fabian Marcano deliver their fresh perspective on the latest entertainment news, celebrity gossip, fashion, health, and more in both English and Spanish, aka Spanglish. Daily Flash Latino builds, connects, and celebrates the diverse Hispanic audience.
Take up your chin, por favor, mi amor. Fabian, por favor.
I'm enjoying this just as much as our viewers are enjoying this right now.
Daily Flash Latino, trending news and entertainment with a splash of Spanglish.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. In today's Car Smarts, gasoline, diesel, or batteries are pretty much our only real options when it comes to cars, but e-fuel might be a cleaner solution. Lauren Fix, the car coach, explains.
E-fuels are offering a new life for combustion engines. Porsche, Stellantis, Ferrari, BMW, and other automakers are taking a hard look at carbon-neutral e-fuel to extend the life of internal combustion and diesel engines for sports cars, SUVs, and pickups. We have heard about synthetic fuels or e-fuels, and supporters are saying that synthetic fuels are the only way to decarbonize internal combustion engines, and critics say that it's a costly distraction from electrification. Let's take a closer look. The European Commission's decision in late March to allow an exemption for cars running on e-fuels or synthetic fuels will qualify for sale after 2035. This leads to a positive option for drivers. All new vehicles must be zero emissions by 2035 in Europe, and e-fuels has gotten the internal combustion engine in new life in Europe. Automakers are saying that e-fuels work in all of their engines, and the issue is that refiners have to determine a way to manufacture it in a value that's equivalent to gasoline. E-fuels price currently is around $11 per gallon. E-fuels are not yet produced at scale. The world's first commercial plant opened in Chile in 2021. It's backed by Porsche and aimed to produce 550 million liters per year. What is the final result? Well, we shall see what consumers want to buy, and their choices will improve over time. Personally, I'm waiting for e-fuel for my vehicles. How about you? I'm Lauren Fix, and you can find this information on my website, carcoachreports.com and dailyflashshow.com.
Thank you, Lauren, for those car smarts. In this week's Furry Friends, we get to hear the real-life story of a real-life Pooh Bear from Tennessee.
Oh.
Now, I don't know if this bear was looking for honey or if, since he was Tennessee, it was more of that country bear jamboree situation. He's trying to get some of that Tennessee shine. But this little guy is safe, but he is not up for adoption, sadly. In reality, it was a pet food feeder that he got caught in, but this bear cub near Chilhowee Lake got its head stuck inside the plastic container for nearly 2 months before being rescued and freed. A resident near the lake first reported the cub's problem back on August 14th. It took biologists nearly 2 months to catch the cub. Luckily, the cub did not have any abrasions from the container and was in decent shape aside from his ears being smashed down. Wow. The cub, named Juggles, is recuperating at a rehabilitation center, and they say he's eating well, taking his meds, and is on the mend, and he is sleeping in his bed. Now, this is the winter, so as we head more into the cold months, the bears are out trying to get more food and get ready for hibernation. So to keep them from getting in trouble and getting through your stuff, make sure you secure your food, your garbage, and all your recycling outside. Most communities now, if they know they have a bear problem, have trash cans they will give you with a bear lock on them. Remove your bird feeders, never leave pet food outside, and clean and store your grill smokers. And you can also prepare your house for the other critters over the winter, because everything gets in there. You know, depending on the region, you're gonna have some stuff looking to hibernate, some stuff looking to stay warm. So people gotta go around their house this time of year and make sure there's nothing out there so those bears or even your reptiles and stuff don't start getting into all your outside food.
And it's a great way to get your kids to actually do some work too. You can say, hey, listen, you don't take the trash out, the bears will get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting too. I mean, the bear looked kind of small. I mean, if you haven't a thing stuck on your head for that long, like basically it looks like the cone of shame or whatever. I mean, wouldn't be able to eat.
Well, luckily, you know, they can store food. That's what they do, and he was okay. And they said he was not too malnourished. You could tell he was skinnier.
Yeah.
And what they were worried was his family kind of leaving him behind and taking off if he couldn't keep up. They actually had to dart him out of a tree, which they don't like to do. But when they finally got the opportunity and saw him, they took the opportunity.
I'm surprised they didn't go with Jughead instead of
Jughead. That would have been a good one
from Archie and.
But we've seen it where bears are just getting pushed out of their habitats and having to find food. I mean, we live in a metro area, and they're showing up in areas where you're like, there's a bear out there, and they're getting hit by cars.
You know, and it doesn't really until you hear like happen to cats and dogs, usually don't seem to happen. And just yesterday morning, I was reading an article. Same exact thing happened to this dog that had put his head in like one of these Cheeto bowls, similar to what that was. And good news is it wasn't 2 months. It was almost like a week, and because he was always running around, he got this thing on his head, looked like a spaceman running around. But he wound up being okay and taking it off as well.
Yeah. So just make sure check around your house or your apartments, and you know keep the critters safe.
And remember what you put out there in your recycling bin too, because that's obviously what they're getting into. All right, good stuff there, Matt. Appreciate that. We have more trendy news and entertainment around the corner. In the meantime, if you're looking for anything that we've been talking about here on the show, we would invite you to check out our website. It's dailyflashshow.com. There you'll find not only links, but also interviews, videos, and our email addresses as well. We'd love to hear from you right here on Daily Flash.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everyone. I am Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, your source for trending news and entertainment. Let me ask you this, Mitch. Growing up, did your family ever have like a secret code word?
No. I don't know. Just think about it.
They've got a crime expert that's blowing up on social media, and she says every family should have a safe word, some kind of secret code word in the event that your kids or you're in trouble, and that way it kind of gives everybody an opportunity to know, hey, if there's a problem here, we know. If you say biscuit, we know that's a problem.
If a text message, something you could put inside of a text message, like you say, everything's great. We're just, I'm dying to eat biscuits or something like that.
Exactly.
It could give them a hint or whatever. I know a lot of times, especially if you have friends picking up your kids. I don't know if it's a great idea these days, but they would have those codes where you teach the kid that, and if say, well, what's the code?
Yeah, and she specifically brought that up and saying, like, look, if there's somebody that's picking you up in the car park line and you don't recognize them, you text me right away, whatever your code word is, and that lets me know that there's, something might be amiss. Yeah.
And I believe in Matt's family, it was who farted, right?
That was that amongst other words, but it was mostly platypus.
Platypus.
Interesting choice of words.
That was, or was that the answer to who farted?
That was the answer.
No, right.
All right.
That's difficult to text quickly.
I don't even. How do you spell platypus? Platypus. Oh yeah. Well, spell check would fix it, so that's good.
All right. Well, an Ontario township is in the process of figuring out how to change the name of its most famous street because the road sign is a target for thieves. John Harry Dick was born on his rural property back in 1957.
So what did they name the street?
The street ended up bearing the name Harry Dick Road in the late 1980s when 911 emergency services was added to the area.
I've had many calls to that area before.
Dick's wife said nobody asked what to name the road. It was just named. The family has lived on the land for 5 generations. Wow. The street sign started to disappear as soon as one would be replaced. Officials confirm the sign is stolen about 4 times a year, and they say they've tried to prevent the thefts by greasing the pole and adding
all right. No.
concrete to its base, but nothing seems to work.
Penicillin, I think.
Yeah. I would want to live in the 68th house, not the one after it.
I'm just scheduling HR. What time do you want to go, Matt?
Yeah, we'll go right after during Beer Wins.
So about
I did look this story up to make sure that it was actually a legit story, and they did have it on Barstool Sports.
Okay.
And it was a legit story.
Well, Mitch and I stole 3 of the signs. So.
And you can see, well, here's the thing. In that city, I would go down to like the Convention and Visitors Bureau and just make up a bunch of whole signs and say, hey, you want one? Yeah. We're selling them. Or make T-shirts out of it.
Exactly. Profit off of it.
It's a real one. And, who's to blame here? The parents? Wouldn't you say? That's just mean, man.
The city folks who decided to name it that.
And then there's another one.
His poor wife said she had nothing to do with it.
A lot of people, when they give directions, they can say, it's a really long road, and they're like, yeah, really? Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, it's cul-de-sac.
I'm going to go ahead and put I'm going to do a 2-hour session with HR. All right, critics are coming after a ballet dancer. Her name's Misty Copeland. She claims the pink ballet shoe emoji on your phone is racist. Yes, you heard that correct. She's demanding that the ballet shoe emoji be more inclusive. She's 41 years old, and this is what she does with her life. She posted about the initiative to her 2 million followers on Instagram, explaining that the ballet started in the 15th century Italy for its white elite, and its shoes are pink to reflect their fair skin color. Critics say the trailblazing dancer is seeing racism where it doesn't exist, posting comments like, it's an emoji, good grief, pink isn't a skin color. Copeland made history as the first black woman to become a principal dancer at the American Ballet Theater, so I'm going to get a lot of email from people saying what I said. Another didn't dance around the issue, saying you are creating a racist pseudo-problem, with some posting clearly a sign of first world privilege problems. Y'all agree with that? I think it's like, come on. I mean, if you're thinking that, I think, aren't you looking for something like racist? I really think, and that, to me, some categorize this as reverse racism. And by the way, her cousin is Taye Diggs, too.
She's married to an attorney who's related to Taye Diggs.
So kind of by marriage.
And they live on a fancy schmancy place on the Upper West Side.
So she's doing pretty well, apparently, all that. We have more Flash. We're going to do some Life Love shopping when we return. Stick around.
If you live it, love it, or buy it, we talk about it on Life Love Shopping. Here is our first topic. We quickly moved past quiet quitting, and now we're in the midst of the new lazy girl job era. It's the new term for Gen Zers who want to work from home with very few demands. This new trend is emerging with a priority focused on me time. The goal of the lazy girl job is pretty simple: low stress, little effort, and lots of flexibility and freedom, all within the comfort of their own space and at their own leisure. So here are the top jobs for those who want to call the shots from the comfort of their own couch and at their own pace. Software engineer, e-learning assistant, translator, museum assistant, library assistant, accountant, freelance writer, insurance claim adjuster, hotel night auditor, and social media manager. Well, if you want to score that lazy girl job, you might have to get past the AI resume screening bots. Here's a trick known as white fonting. Copy the keywords for a job you're applying for, then paste them into your resume, but change the font to white. The color change will make them invisible to the human eye, but front and center for an algorithm. It's not always guaranteed to work, but it might help get your name into the right online resume pile for an in-person interview. Then again, if the human interviewer isn't fond of the white fonting tactic, you might have some splaining to do. You could also copy and paste keywords into your resume under the special skills section and get pretty much the same result. If you're trying to hit the pinnacle of credit scores, 850, some financial experts say it's not necessary. Ted Rossman from Bankrate says once you hit 740, your credit score is considered excellent. For mortgage rates, Ted advises 780 is tops. Your FICO score, which is used by creditors and landlords, judges your ability to manage your credit. And the numbers can range anywhere from 300 to 850. According to one credit scoring company, anything below 629 is considered bad, while anything above 720 is considered excellent. One flyer has found a way to fly VIP in economy, and as you can imagine, it has the internet divided. At Vashak27 recorded this on a recent flight and asked if anyone else has ever seen anything like it. He was on a flight from San Diego to Italy when he recorded a passenger who took a blanket and locked it into the overhead bin like a curtain. While many thought the idea was genius, other passengers were totally annoyed. Something we all love is food, right? And Susie the Foodie is asking, have you ever tried making your own bloomin' onions?
Have you ever tried pickled red onion bloomin' onions? These were seriously so delicious. I used a tomato-free Cajun dipping sauce and baby red onions. I started out by cutting the onions 8 times to make a little flower shape. Then I made a pickle brine using vinegar, salt, sugar, garlic, water, pink peppercorns, and thyme. I let the onions pickle for 2 hours. Then I dried off some of the liquid. For the breading, I used a fried chicken flavored flour. I added a little bit of buttermilk and seasoning to the eggs. Anytime I have a recipe that needs breading, I use disposable containers so the cleanup is much easier. I then set my stove to medium heat for the oil so that the breading and onion pieces would stay together. I am so excited with how these turned out. The breading held on and the texture was super crispy.
For more information on Susie the Foodie, you can follow her on Facebook or Instagram at Susie the Foodie. And one more thing for you. Forbes magazine is reporting that nearly 75% of all Americans have at least one tattoo. Pew Research conducted the survey, and here's what they found out. Women are more likely to have permanent ink compared to men. Nearly half the people between the age of 30 to 50 here in the U.S. have a tattoo, with close to 70% saying their tat was a way to honor something or someone. The worldwide tattoo market was valued at nearly $2 billion in 2022 and will likely double by 2030. Meanwhile, tattoo removal is also booming and is expected to grow from a $500 million industry to $800 million.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. You have kids, you definitely want to tune into this. It's no secret that today's kids are really, and even young adults, carry burdens that previous generations were actually sheltered from. As a result, it's actually causing a mental health crisis with our younger generation. So joining us now with some advice on how we can actually navigate through these challenging times is Dr. Frieda Birnbaum. We welcome her back to the show. Hi, Dr. Frieda.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
We love having you on. You know, it is something it's something that we see all the time. What are some of the causes of these mental health issues?
You know, it starts at home. It always starts at home. And parents need to take responsibility. If you see your child not acting the way they usually act, depressed, isolated, not talking, that's a heads up to go ahead and connect and see what's really going on. Then what about school? If you see a student sitting alone, go ahead and join that person. Go sit down, befriend them every week. Bring them to your friends. And this way that person doesn't feel rejected or alone, because the number one cause for depression often is in young men who feel rejected. They're not doing well in school. They don't have girlfriends, or in their careers as well. They could be suicidal. So that's really a danger point. But we do have to bring these people in and make them feel accepted, because we're often very discriminating against their race, their religion, the way they look, the way they dress. All this nonsense has to stop, and we have to be able to accept everybody and enjoy the differences. Absolutely.
You mentioned all that, and then that's coupled with, let's say, you know, for young kids, you know, 12, you have a lot of hormones going through 12-year-old, 13-year-olds, you know, around that age, and then the frontal globe isn't really fully developed in our 20-year-olds. So you add that together. You know, a lot of it is just they feel like nobody can understand them, I would imagine, and that's when reaching out to them is actually going to be able to help, saying, hey, look, there is help out there.
Yes, absolutely right. That's so important what you just said, because what does happen is that the brain chemistry actually changes as you start thinking differently, and the frontal cortex does develop at that time, and that's very dangerous. But you know, there are ways to treat this. When we're talking about mental depression, it's really very medical, and it has to do with the brain. So how do we treat that? Well, number one, we have acute depression, which is chronic. That sometimes needs medical attention and medication. But then there's episodal. And you know, episodal, what do you think is the first problem, the first anxiety-provoking situation with episodal anxiety and depression? Do you know what that is?
I would imagine it has something to do with a friend, social peers.
That sounds right, but it's speaking in public. Being able to speak to other children in class and having the presence to be heard is something that's very scary, not only to children, but to adults. And then there are changes. If a child has to go ahead and change schools, change locations, change friends, that's also very threatening to have to deal and know how to deal with that, because children really are used to the same. They don't like differences. So we have to look at these effects. And then there are things that do need medical attention. Schizophrenia, which is hallucinating, or bipolar, which is manic depressive. Those things do not help with cognitive therapy. They do need to have medications resolved. So parents need to know what to look for so they can treat it appropriately.
Okay, and you know, I want to move forward a little bit, because if your child or maybe a loved one really struggling with their mental health, you're saying that there's actually 3 things that we can do. You kind of mentioned the first one, but can we go through some of those things, the first steps?
Yes, you know, first of all, listen. Connect. When you talk to your child, when there's nothing that important to talk about, that child feels safe when there are important things to talk about. So connect to the child, maintain a certain communication. Social media is also very toxic. Keep them away from social media, because what happens is you see all these people having a great time. You know, that's not natural. Everybody does get depressed once in a while. And when you see people face to face, you're able to react appropriately. So do go ahead and allow your child to have all the feelings and to be able to express negativity, because negative thoughts are really what promotes all this depression. We need to change the negative thoughts into positive thoughts.
And I would imagine, too, don't wait for that professional help. Have the kids stay off of social media. 3 great things, very simple things we can do, and you can take it and you can work with that professional as well. Dr. Frieda, very good information. We want folks at home, if they have any other questions or like to find out more, you can always visit drfrieda.com. She always is here on their show with helping us and living our lives and helping others as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Frieda.
As the holiday shopping season starts to warm up, there's a lot to consider when it comes to your budget. Here's Jeanette Kaplan with ways to turn your spending into earning power during the holidays.
Thanks so much for having me. The holidays are really right around the corner, and from travel to gifts to entertaining family and friends, there's a lot to budget for. I'm so excited for Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, so I've been looking for ways to turn my spending into earning this holiday season. Take advantage of the great benefits that cashback credit cards like Chase Freedom Flex can offer you, whether you're grocery shopping because you're in charge of cooking for the holiday festivities or fueling up before a long road trip to see family. And by using your credit card throughout the year on everyday purchases, you'll always earn as you spend. Other ways that you can use your cashback this holiday season include flying in a grandparent as a surprise on Thanksgiving, or helping to offset the cost of hosting relatives during the holidays. And don't forget that in addition to cashback rewards, your credit card may offer benefits like purchase protection or extended warranty protection on gifts you're purchasing for friends and family this holiday season. And beyond the holiday season, make sure you take advantage of all of your credit card rewards and benefits, including earning cashback. It can really help take the sting out of rising costs on everyday essentials from groceries to gas. And if you don't have a rewards card, consider opening a Chase Freedom Unlimited or Freedom Flex cashback credit card. The best part? New card members earn a $200 welcome bonus in addition to 5% cashback on up to $12,000 gas station and grocery purchases within the first year. You can visit creditcards.chase.com to learn more on how you can start earning rewards and cashback for the upcoming holiday season. Until next time, happy cashback and rewards redemption season.
There's one show when I'm just laying down, I just want to watch TV. It's Seinfeld. I can just put it on. No matter which episode it is, I can see it. And I heard some good news.
Yes, so Seinfeld teased about a possible revival of the show at a recent show in Boston, talking about there could be more to come.
It's interesting because I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, big fan of that, and they kind of, that last episode of Seinfeld was horrid, and they wanted to kind of fix it. And so I don't know. I'm a little mixed about how I'm going to feel about it because I kind of want to leave it as it is. When you start messing with stuff, it kind of that magic.
Do they include Michael Richards?
I think he would. I think forgotten all that stuff.
Definitely.
All right, we have more Flash and more fun, and hey, guess what? We'll be here talking about a new movie heading out.
Welcome back to Daily Flash. When a young teenager meets an incredibly glamorous Elvis Presley at a party, the sparks fly, and their private moments are caught behind closed doors. Here's this week's must-watch movie, Priscilla. Okay, you can roll the tape now.
Hi. What's your name?
Priscilla Boyer.
You like Elvis Presley?
Of course. Who doesn't?
What are the kids listening to these days?
Bobby Darin, Fabian, and you.
Just what is the intent here, Mr. Presley? You got women throwing themselves at you. Why my daughter?
Well, sir, I happen to be very fond of your daughter. She's much more mature than her age. 22. That's 22. You don't have to worry about it. Black hair and more eye makeup.
I don't know if I like it.
What do you mean you don't know if you like it?
He's not like you imagine. You know, there's a lot of rumors about you.
Was there something you're hiding?
I don't have a goddamn thing to hide.
Oh, I need a woman who understands that things like this might happen. Are you gonna be here or not?
I want a life of my own.
Sofia Coppola, this is her version of it. I remember back in the late 80s, it was Elvis and Me. It was a miniseries came out. Do you remember that? And I remember watching
The book
that.
was terrific.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you get to hear more of Priscilla's side. So it's going to be interesting to see what else this might bring out in it.
It got a standing ovation at one of the big film festivals recently. Yeah.
Well, that's good to see. And there's still a fascination between Elvis and Priscilla, how even through the years and afterwards, how they had kept it together somewhat, you know, and it's interesting to see.
You have to wonder too, like how many more Elvis Presley movies will we have?
That's
because he's still a draw.
He is the king of rock and roll, baby. These are some of the folks that make our show what it is. Say hi, gang. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back in 23 short hours. Y'all be good or get at it. We'll see you when we look at you. Bye-bye.